we need heat in combination with acid to make the dye stick to the yarn. In this video, we will be talking about the use of heat in the yarn dyeing process, as well as different sources of heat. So there's different heat sources that you can use. Some people will use a microwave, others will use their kitchen stove or oven. Those are all great sources of heat. Now for myself, I don't need to use my kitchen because I have this dye area down here in my basement. So I use hot plates or those portable burners. So that's what I used for years, actually. I have quite a few of those, and just recently I switched to using a warming oven. So a warming oven is what they will use in a bakery or in a restaurant to either keep food warm or to proof bread dough. So it doesn't get very heavy, or it doesn't get very high in heat. And that is perfect for yarn dyeing, because one thing that you want to be careful about is not applying or exposing the yarn to too high of a heat or too much heat, because that can be damaging to the fibers. And some fibers are more susceptible to damage that way. So I always try to be careful not to let the yarn come to a boil when I'm applying the color to it. But that's really hard to control when you're working on a burner. I find that I always had to turn it off and then turn the heat back on. It didn't matter how low I kept the heat. It would eventually start boiling and just get too hot. So that was always a concern. But since I've switched to using a warming oven, I don't have that problem because there's no direct heat. The yarn itself isn't sitting on top of a burner. It's just hot air that's circulating around in the machine. So really what's happening is the yarn is steaming. So that's a lot gentler on the yarn. And I can just put the yarn in there once I've done dyeing it, and I can just let it steam overnight if I want to. I can just let it go for hours and heat through to make sure that the dye really does penetrate. And I don't have to worry about damaging the fibers because it's not going to get too hot. It's not in direct heat, and the dye only needs to get up to a certain temperature to stick to the yarn. And so the warming oven only goes so high, and it's the perfect heat for setting that color. So it's really been a great tool to add for me. But the average, you're probably not going to invest in that because you're not going to need to be dyeing the amount of yarn that I am. But I just thought I'd explain why I do like using it. We covered a lot of things, didn't we? We talked about the three main components of hand-dyed yarn. That is the dye, acid, and heat. So hopefully I was clear with my explanations. There is so much more that I could talk to you about, but again, this series is the basics. So there's enough here to get you started, and then from then on, you're going to, do your own research and learn a lot more on your own. But this is a good start. So in the third installment, I'm going to be talking about the tools that I use. I'm going to be showing you how to wash and dry the yarn after it's been dyed, how to skein it or get it into a form that looks presentable. And you've seen me do this in my other videos, but I'm going to be explaining the process. And as well, we're going to be talking about cleaning. which is not that exciting, but it is an important part. How to clean your tools properly and have your workspace be nice and functional. So I look forward to sharing that with you. That will be coming soon. And in the meantime, stay healthy, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks. Bye.